Hello, my name is Nanami Aiko and welcome to a little tutorial I'm putting together on VROID and how to use it. A lot of people that I know think that the program itself is quite complicated, and it does look so from the outside, but in my opinion it's quite good to use, especially if you are looking to make a model in this kind of 3D style rather than live 2D. So this is how to VROID. So the main thing here is just model type, masculine or feminine. I generally go with feminine avatars just because I prefer them, how they look. You see quite a few different types of editors up the top. You've got face, hair, body, clothing, general, and a camera exporter one. That kind of shows you like a green screen that'll show off your character, and then you can export the VRM model from there. But we're going to start with the face editor. It has quite a few different sliders. It looks very complicated, but it's honestly not. I'd recommend going through the sliders just to get an idea of what they do, but what we're going to do here is just go through what the textures look like, because this, in my opinion, is one of the backbones of VROID. There's a ton to choose from, and it probably looks a little bit intimidating, but it's really not. You can keep a lot of the defaults for these sorts of things if you want to. I went through and changed them for Nanami, but that's because I wanted custom things off of websites like Booth and Twitter and stuff like that. So what we're going to do here, it doesn't quite record perfectly unfortunately, but you can go layer, import, and then on the little file, like Explorer will show up, usually your downloads folder, whatever it defaults to, and you can go ahead and select, in this case, we're selecting a set of pink irises. So that's how you import something. It's the same no matter where in VROID you do it. The only time it's different is in the hair, but you can import, like, say, a new set of eyebrows, and it will pop up, and it will be the exact same menu. Right click, import, you pick your new file, and then it shows up. It's fairly simple. It's really, really good for customization's sake because you can just find a file that someone else has made or make your own in a program like Paint.net or Paint.sci, and then you can import it. I really enjoy this aspect of VROID personally. And then we're going to go into the hair editor, just a quick overview of that as well. There's two types. There's procedural, which is what shows up here. It's a bit of a kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's like it gives you hair rather than you drawing it yourself, and you can just kind of move it and change it around. I personally don't like to use it just because, I don't know, it doesn't work for me as well. So what I'm going to do here is right click delete, and then we're going to add a freehand group, which is what I normally draw with. It gives you this kind of mesh looking thing that's almost like a guide to where the hair will show up, and you can just draw it as if you're painting with like a paint tool side brush. Next, body editing. This is very simple and comparable to the face editor. You've got textures, which you can import different skin tones, I don't know, body socks or something if you want that. And then you've got a bunch of different sliders, which again, I'd recommend going through just to see what they do. After that, clothing. This one's a bit more complicated because you have to keep a track of what you're importing onto what. In this example, the default VROID model uses a uniform, which comes with a uniform shirt and a skirt. Fairly simplistic. But if you import to something that isn't that, it's going to look real strange. After that, in the general editor, the first two things I always do, get rid of the outline, because quite honestly it looks a little too anime, especially if it's turned up high. Get rid of rim light. I don't know why, I don't like either of those things. They just don't look that good to me. There's a couple other settings in here, like you can mess around with the shading, stuff like that, but those are the main two that I always do. And that's really just an overview of VROID. It's